All right, y'all. I thought I'd just give you a little story of what's been happening with my cymbals this past month, because it's been pretty stinking annoying. All started with this dude, the 17-inch AAX concept series. Ooh, mysterious. But if you can see it right there, it's cracking. I don't know if the camera's going to focus on that. I hope it does. Make editing a little easier, but it's cracking. Needless to say, this would be the third time that it's cracked. But let me give you just a little backstory on how long I've had this cymbal and why it's even gotten to the point of cracking 3 times. I had my Meinl HCS set of cymbals that I'd gotten in my starter drum kit, and I was like, I dream of having a good cymbal. The little noob I was. And for my 15th year Christmas, might have been 14th, I'm not even sure, I opened up a Christmas present, and there it was, 17-inch Sabian AAX concept crash, and it looked so cool, and I was like on top of the world. It was the best thing ever, and I hit it, and it was like the coolest cymbal ever, because I hadn't really ever tried out other cymbals. It was killer at the time. And I would just hit that thing so often. And as time went on, I bought my K-Sweet 20-inch crash for a good right side. And I bought my 23-inch K-Sweet ride. Those cymbals are phenomenal. We couldn't recommend them anymore. They're amazing. Over the past couple years, played this thing a lot. And then around January of this year, it started to crack. The first of many, but it started to crack, and I was like, oh no, it's cracking. I was like shocked, because I didn't even think I would crack a cymbal, because I don't hit cymbals very hard. So I was like, what the heck? It's cracking. And so I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And then I realized I have to cut it. And so I cut it. It was kind of small at first. Here, I'll put a clip up of me playing it with the smaller cut. But I cut it for the first time. I was like, okay, I'm in the clear. This cymbal sounds fine. It didn't sound much worse, because it was only a small cut into the cymbal to get rid of the crack, so it didn't actually sound that bad yet. Foreshadowing. But a couple months later, it started to crack for a second time from the same spot. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's cracking again. And I was really frustrated. So I was like, okay, this time I'm going to have to make the cut really big so it doesn't crack again. There's no chance it's going to crack again. So, hence, this giant divot in the cymbal that I made. Tried to make it nice and huge. I actually made a short of me cutting it so that people would know they can just cut their cymbals to fix them. Hopefully they do a better job than I did so it doesn't crack again. A couple months went by again, and it started cracking for a third time a couple weeks ago. And I was like, okay, that's it. Time for a new cymbal. If I cut this one again, it's probably not even going to sound like a crash anymore, because after 2 cuts, it already sounded really bad because I cut like a giant chunk out of it. I started doing my research online, trying to find the cymbal I wanted, It was kind of exciting. I came across the Sand series by Meinl, which is like Benny Greb's signature series. I was like, okay, these sound good. So I went to a music store. All they had was the 20-inch Sand Thin Crash. And I played that, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest cymbal I've ever heard in my life. And I wanted it so badly, but I realized I probably have to get a smaller cymbal, because this cymbal is only a 17-inch. So I needed a small-ish cymbal to replace it. So at this point, I was set on 18-inch Sand. And they didn't really have the 18-inch Sand Thin in any music stores near me. So all I had was by judging online, and the 18-inch Sand Thin online sounded like the sustain would be a little too short for what I was liking, even though it sounded incredible. So I started looking into the 18-inch Sand Medium, and from the videos, that thing sounded amazing. It had a lot longer of a sustain, and it still sounded really good, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. And I went online and bought one. I waited in anticipation for it to arrive, and it finally came. And I was so excited, and then I hit it for the first time with my stick, and it sounded awful. The thing had the resonance of a literal gong. The overtones it had, I just did not like. At least, okay, that's all subjective because maybe one of you guys could find one that was way better than the one I got, or maybe one of you guys would just like how it sounded first time you hit it. But to me, I just didn't. I didn't like it at all. And I tried to tell myself, like, I do like this. This does sound good. This is a great sounding cymbal, but I was lying. That didn't sound good to my ears. And so I was like, okay, I can't keep a cymbal I don't like. And so I returned it, and I decided to go out and buy a different 18-inch cymbal, which is right behind me. Let me get it. Oh, this is so awkward to hold. I bought the 18-inch K-Sweet Crash to match my other K-Sweet cymbals. And this cymbal sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds like a dream come true. And I was like, why did I not just buy this cymbal first? Because it fits right in with my other cymbals, and it just sounds great. And the other thing about my 18-inch sand cymbal that I bought originally was that I just didn't think it fit well with my other cymbals that I had. And that was another one of the big factors for me. I bought this. It sounds great. And I wish I didn't go through the whole process of buying that sand crash. So the two things I learned from this were, one, spend a little time thinking about and dwelling on buying a cymbal or buying any drum gear for that matter. Make sure it is what you really want, or if it's a wise decision to spend your money on that thing. If I'd given it a little more thought and a little more time, I probably would have realized that I needed to play it in person. Because I'd played that 18-inch K-Sweet in person, and it sounded amazing. But I never played that 18-inch sand medium. Obviously, always try cymbals out in person or drum gear in person before you buy it. Being in person is a whole different thing than being online. Like, online, the sand medium cymbal sounded really good. But in person, to me, it didn't. And so always go in person to try out things and make sure that it's what you really want. So, yeah, guys, I thought I'd just end the video by giving you guys some audio and some footage of the cymbals so that you guys can hear what they sound like. I'll try to leave it kind of raw, mostly raw, hopefully, so that you can hear what they sound like naturally. They sound amazing. But don't take my word for it. If you really want to buy a K-Sweet cymbal, go to a store and try it out. Because, like I said, it's way better to try out things in person. So, but here's the audio anyway, so you can hear them. All right, guys, before you go, please make sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out a ton. These videos take a lot of time. Granted, I have some fun making them, but I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. All right, guys, see ya.